Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks, as always, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it greatly. We are going to get into the show here. We definitely appreciate your comments or answer questions we don't know the answer to. What are you drinking? Let us know. We always like to hear about that. But with that said, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you for joining us, hanging out, having a beer, some conversation. We always appreciate you. I am Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm doing pretty good, Tim. Yeah,
That's
no
good.
complaints this time. Yeah.
Okay. It's good to be good, Brian.
It is. It's good to be good.
Yeah. Nate, how are you doing, sir?
I'm also doing good, and it is definitely good to be good. And Tim, Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm fine. You guys can be good. I'll just be fine this week. So, but we had a large tech migration at work. We went over to a new server. My company's pretty large, so it's been fun. My personal computer migrated pretty well. I didn't have a lot of issues with it, but outside of our actual IT team, I've had quite a few calls for tech support from others to try and get them working. So anytime, Brian, I know you're in the software world. A migration never goes flawlessly, literally never. And that's, you can do all the planning and prepping you want to, and there's going to be headaches. So
it can sometimes go really well, but yeah, you're talking about a big Microsoft Outlook, whatever. No, never.
And I think we're like 1,000 users or something. So, it's a large pool of people to get moved over.
If it was 10 people and you were moving like Exchange servers or something like that, all 10 people would be offline for at least a little while. It doesn't matter how many you got. So
something's going to happen. But that was it, just making it through that. But other than that, guys, it's another week. We're cranking on through. It is summer and it is hot. We've been setting records for days above 90 degrees here. So it's perfect drinking season. And it's kind of, I'm going to use the term funny just because that's the most polite term. But we joke every year about the seasonal creep and the Oktoberfest coming out. That, Nate, I believe you found before the 4th of July, I think Highlands Oktoberfest had hit a store.
Highland Oktoberfest had been hitting local Total Wine for us in the Atlanta area.
No.
And I was so shocked I had to snap a pic and send it to our Discord with our patrons and just sort of commiserate with them about how egregious the seasonal creep's getting.
It's crazy, man. And then I saw I get a weekly email from a couple of the distributors on what's coming out next week, and there were 2 or 3 more this week that were the Oktoberfest beers coming out. And one of our friends of the show and patrons, Coach Rogers, he had made a comment in the Discord chat that he would be kind of cool with an Oktoberfest party or something along those lines. Now, and Brian, I think you found there's a brewery doing like an Oktoberfest in July thing.
Exactly.
Right?
They have messed up the creep, like the in July thing. It's supposed to be Christmas in July, and I kind of sort of like that idea because it's so far away. It's not even creep. It's kind of like, it's a separate thing. No, they've just decided to do Oktoberfest in July, so they've got the Steins. They're doing Stein holding, and I'm like, that's just a bad idea.
You're like, that's just wrong. That's not even like Christmas in July is cool because it's so far off. But but on that note, Brian, I actually saw a business on Instagram post about planning your holiday parties. And I'm like, what holiday are they talking about here? But their pictures were actually had Christmas decorations and stuff in it. So they're like, plan your holiday party, do a team building, this and that. And I'm like, man, July? Christmas parties in July?
Now, with the very, very large organizations, I think that they might start 6 months out, like the big ones. The place I'm working at now is not big enough to do this.
Yeah.
But some places I've worked, I think that they probably do because they need very large venues, and you got to grab that before somebody else does, and you got to go through a whole negotiation process. So I believe that for some things, but for your average mom and pop shop or whatever, like corner. I don't know, wherever you're working, the
you
garage
don't
or
need to
wherever.
plan 6 months out.
You don't need that far out.
Yeah.
Like you've got a small office, you got a sales team or whatever. Just you're gonna find a place, a month ahead of time. You book it and you'll be good. Like, no,
You'll be fine.
Silly. It's just silly.
It is silly. Guys, we did something this past weekend, the whole lot of us, and had a bottle share. And Brian, I know you and Nate got together not long ago, had a little one. So this is like 2 bottle shares in as many months, I believe. And
we're carrying the weight of bringing this trend back.
Right, man, because that's something we used to do frequently. I would say at least once a month we'd get a good group together. We do our friend groups, and there was also almost always other bottle shares that we had, either through the Reddit group or whatever. Somebody was having one, but it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we did bottle shares, but we got together, we shared some beers. And as I've shared in the past, beer has not been agreeing with me, but for some reason it seems sour beers didn't bug me too bad. So, we broke out some lambics and gooses and stuff. And I didn't partake a lot, but I probably had a couple good drinks of maybe 5 or 6 of the beers brought out and didn't have any issues. So, that was nice. So I was able to actually partake in the bottle share, but some of the ones that we shared, I think my favorite from the share, and this is one that it's easy to take my favorite spot because I just love it before it's even poured. But we had a Dry Fontaine. Nate, you had, I think it was called Homage Oogst or something like that. That was from 2019. And I think if I remember right, was it a Framboise Creek blend? Cherry raspberry blend?
It was a sour cherry raspberry blend.
Okay. That was good. That was probably my favorite. We also had one from Orpheus that, one of our favorite RIP Atlanta breweries there, but we had the 12th labor from them, the coconut version. And that was really good. Yes. And we had a couple from Orpheus. But with that said, Nate, how about you, man? What were some of the highlights for you?
So, of course, I'm a little biased because I'm a big Dry Fontaine fan. So I was very excited to share a special bottle with you guys. The other Orpheus bottle that Brian, you had brought, the Stones Grew Red, that was something that was just, I think they were trying to mimic it to be like an old fashioned, and that just held up. It was so nice. And, but, honestly, I really did enjoy Evil Twin's take on the real Mexican cake. And I thought I might have heard that there was a story behind this beer, but I'm not sure, so I don't really want to get into it. But it was really cool seeing another brewery partake in the Mexican cake production.
Is this a friendly take on it or a hostile take? Do you know what's the story?
The rumor was it was a hostile take, that there was some sort of falling out because the label on the can is a broken bottle of Westbrook's Mexican cake.
Okay. All right. We'll have to find this. We were Nate, I'm giving you this task. Validate the info in the story and we'll share it next week. So that's it. We'll find out the story because it sounds like it could be interesting. So we'll see what we can find on that.
I really think it's probably there's something to it, but I couldn't, in the little bit of Googling I did while we were there, I couldn't find anything. But I don't know, with this kind of thing, maybe it's rumors and Facebook groups.
Yeah, we may not be, but if we can't validate it, we'll let y'all know, because that does sound like something that it could just be, shared between people and drunken bar stories.
I will agree that one of my favorites was that Evil Twin Real Mexican Cake. That's a throwback to some of the greatest of the Mexican cakes that I've had. I really like that a lot. I was very much in love with the Creek Mariage Parfait from Boone from 2011.
That was good.
That I brought. That I've been I could see where it was sitting for so many years from where I'm sitting right now, and I was just like, when am I going to open that? It's a great beer. When am I going to open it? Finally opened it. I think it was good until like 2031, but I got to tell you, it was just marvelous. It was wonderful. I honestly enjoyed that more than the Dry Fontaine, but I don't know. That's probably my bias because I brought it and I was very much looking forward to getting into that. But the Stones.
There's no wrong answers, Brian.
True. Mm-hmm. The Stones Grew Red. I I knew I liked that, and I went out and bought like 10 bottles of those when they were released after having it the first time. I think there were 2 releases of it. I got it 1 or 2 of them the one time, and I got like 5 or 6 the next time they came out, and I've never regretted that. And I don't have many of them left, but every time I open it up, that's such a wonderful beer. So yeah, there were a lot of really good stuff. A lot of really good stuff. And we all, you know what? I'm not gonna spoil it. I won't talk about one of the beers we had because we'll be talking about that momentarily, I think.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get into that. This absolute banger of a beer there. But,
yes, this banger.
yeah, and Brian, before we move on to our beers of the week, so you found something. We all have seen the commercials with Corona where you stick your beer in the sand, or they stick
Yes.
their beer in the sand, and that. So there is a someone designed a bottle that they're claiming the design is for sticking it in the sand. And I think we're going to have to do a little, you're going to have to do a little explanation here because this could really use a visual aid. But what's the scoop on this, Brian?
Yeah. So it looks a lot like a Corona bottle. It isn't. It was designed. I did a little research on this, and this was actually designed in 2023 for a design show. Anyway, it was a prototype for a design show around things that are ocean themed or meant to be appreciated in an ocean environment. So the bottom of it, instead of being, your square, like rounded flat bottom, instead of being a flat bottom, it's rounded so as to better penetrate the sand, hypothetically. So you could stick it in the sand at the beach. It would go in very nicely. It doesn't have any edges to it, so it's very tapered and very nice. And it could be inserted in sand or a lot of other places, as a lot of people on Twitter,
Like a cup holder or a koozie is what you're saying,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
course.
Definitely. Possibly even tighter places than that. Because of the tapering of it, it could go. And about 60, I think 60 million people on Twitter /X have had comments about where they might actually like to place that thing in their day-to-day life. And
what is
I'm not
wrong
gonna get into,
with you people?
I'm not going to get into all of them because this is a family-friendly show, but I will say there's a certain segment of the Twitter population with certain proclivities that are particularly interested in this bottle. But I got to point out that this is as viral as it went suddenly this week. It is something that was a prototype done once, and it's from a couple years ago. It got what kicked it off is there's an engineering Twitter feed that just puts out like design and engineering things. So they just happened to put this out, and the right person saw it and said, "Hold on, that's not for that. That is for another thing." And a lot of paramedics would say, "No, it's not for that other thing, and don't you dare do it." So I think it's about as far as I can go with that without getting us into some sort of a trouble with people.
Think this is silly,
Yes.
and like I enjoy a good immature joke, and I just think this is stupid. So that's my personal take on this viral beer bottle design. I think it's dumb, Brian. Is my take on it.
Yeah, like that's a very single purpose. Like you won't be able to set this down anywhere, and you'd want to make sure you watch where you sit on the beach if you had bottles like this, because you wouldn't want to accidentally sit on this.
I guess so, Brian.
Yeah,
I guess so. All right, well, I'm moving on. I've had enough of this. So all right, guys, beers of the week. Let's talk about what we're getting into. And I think for the first time, I think we all have the same beer. And we've talked about doing this before and coordinating. There's been a time when a couple of us had it, but I am going to, you know what? I'm taking the spotlight here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to come out of the gate.
Do it.
We've talked about this beer in the past. Nate was out and about, and he found the elusive Bapple.
Not Bapple.
The Bapple. We needed some music there, but we don't have any. But he did find it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Busch Light Apple. And Nate was kind enough to grab some and share them around with us. We actually did have one at the bottle share that we passed around. And then I think I have one icy cold. I actually put it in the fridge, and then I actually moved it into ice to get it truly ice cold. And guys, here's my take on it. I really didn't get a lot out of it when we had it at the bottle share. And I think that's probably because we had some big stouts, and we'd had gooses and lambics and all of this stuff. I'm not sure that I get the rave over it. but it's a fairly refreshing drink. I mean, it's like picture if you had a macro lager and you mix some apple juice in it, just some basic apple juice. And there is a style that is, I think you put cider in beer wort and blend it, so kind of a cider beer hybrid called a graph. So that is a style. I know when we've talked about this before, we definitely have had brewers that have chimed in with the fact that is it acetaldehyde, Brian? That is
Yes, the green apple.
The green apple taste. It's
Yeah.
Apple typically is an off flavor in beer, is an undesirable in beer, and it's quite possible that Busch just had some acetaldehyde in here and they just decided to amp it up. They're like, oh, maybe they had a bad batch and they're like, hey, let's not dump this, man. Let's go full apple here. But I find it to be tasty and refreshing, and I enjoy it just fine for what it is. But I believe the one can that Nate gifted me will be enough to satiate me on this one.
I have to wonder if it truly was, and it may well be the acetaldehyde that issue that you talked about. How bad are the hangovers going to be if you just got lit up on these? Because that contributes heavily to like headaches and things like that.
That's a good point,
compound.
Brian.
Yeah,
it's a good point. Yeah. So I don't think they would do that because I believe in the process of our bodies breaking down alcohol, that the acetaldehyde, as you mentioned, is the part that gives you the issue, gives you the hangovers, and is not good for you. So I would doubt that a brewery would amp that up in their beer. So I'm sure to get more apple flavor in there, they had another way. Even if I'm right, probably not. I'm probably talking out the other side of my head here, but
I'd hope so.
Yeah, I would think they did not pump more acetaldehyde in there. Who knows? But, Brian, what do you think of it?
I think that I thought it was nice and crisp and appley. When we had it on, was that Saturday? Last Saturday. I'm surprised. I'm drinking it now, and it's striking me as being a little bit more sweet than I remember it being. I'm like before, and I think again we had a lot of other things. I had some big food before that too, so it was later in the day, and maybe my taste buds were a bit numbed. I think it's a little sweet for my taste. I think it's pleasant. I would want, if I were drinking a cider, I wouldn't want it to taste like this. This is very appley to me and quite sweet. I'd want it to be a little drier. So I think this is fine. And I also agree with you. This particular one plus the one we had before is ample for me. I think I'll be fine with that. If I'm in the mood for cider, or apples, I'll just go get some cider.
Get your dry cider or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good ones out there. I haven't had any in a while because it's not usually my thing, but nothing wrong with it. If people like it, I completely understand it. It is pleasant. I liked it. I actually liked it a fair amount on Saturday. I just like it less this time. It's just not my thing.
Now, Brian, do you remember when we had our Natter Days phase?
Yes, I do. Yeah. That was fine too. Was that as I don't know, it's been a minute. Was that as sweet as this is? Or was that
pretty sweet, but it did have some tartness to it there. But that was something, and I remember one of the first times we experienced it, we were down on the beach in Florida. So we had, hot, salty sea air, which definitely helps with something like that. And again, we're pulling these out of a cooler full of ice on the beach, all of that. That does add to it.
It definitely does. And I can tell you why I would like Natter Days more. I have a weakness for strawberry. Love the flavor of strawberry.
Okay.
In fact, with everybody into like citrus drinks right now, that's a strawberry and fresh lemonade, like mixed type of American light lager. That should be killing it right now. And
I haven't heard it mentioned in forever. I don't know if it's still a thing or not, but it was good then. But you think about it. Let's say you're out at a party. You're out on the lake with your friends, man. You're barbecuing, you're having a good time. It's 90 degrees out. You're running around doing all of this stuff, and someone has a cooler. They're like, hey, man, I got a cooler full of beer over there. Help yourself. And you go over and excitedly open it up, and it's all Bapple. But again, I remind you, it's 90 degrees. You're outside. It's sunny, and this Bapple is on ice. You're gonna crush a couple, aren't you?
Of course you are. Yeah. The colder it is, the faster you're gonna drink them. Yeah.
Of course, man. Yeah. So Nate, how about you, man? What's your thoughts on Bapple?
So it's kind of weird that the macro limited time offer here was a white whale there for a minute. I'm grateful that I was able to catch the whale. I'm grateful that I only got a 6-pack,
Yeah.
and so I only have 2 cans left. It's tasty. I agree with you guys. I think I'm enjoying it more tonight than I did on Saturday after we had already gone a few rounds. But I think that this, at least to me, it's tasting more appley than beer. Like, I don't get a
It is
heavy
to me.
beer flavor presence. I did check the ABV and it's only 4.1%. So it's crushable. Give me 95-degree weather and face down in a cold cooler. Yeah, I would definitely crush a whole bunch of these.
So it's been a while since I have it, but and I may say the name wrong because I don't know my German pronunciations here. But have either of you guys had apple wine?
I want to say yes. I want to say
Oh,
I have
wow.
had apple
It's
wine.
kind of reminded me of that because I agree, Nate. It's definitely more apple than beer there. And man, I don't hate this. I don't. I'm enjoying this. I still don't think it's something that I'd seek out, but I'm actually enjoying this more as I drink it more. Oh well.
I think that's part of it. The same with Natter Days. The more of them you knock
Yeah.
back, the more you're going to enjoy it. So
Good
yeah,
stuff, man. Good stuff.
shock to the system with that sweet apple. And then suddenly you're like, you know what? I've adjusted to it and like, give me more. Give me more.
Give me more. I tell you what, bro. Go ahead.
Reminds me, you were talking about stocking a cooler. I saw a video where a
Uh-huh.
guy was talking about a life hack type of thing of stocking your cooler. And his idea was is you put the cans in first. So you rip off one of the sides of the boxes, you stack it on top, you stack them all up next to each other, put ice around them, and then you lift out the boxes so they're in a column on
right.
top of each other, and the ice is all around them. And so I thought that was neat. I'm like, I don't almost never have an occasion where I'm doing that, but if I ever am, I'm getting that 6-pack or 12-pack. I'm putting it in first, face down with the side ripped off, so I can put ice around it and have it stacked up so it's nicely organized, properly covered with ice. So that was a pretty cool little hack. And
it seems like it would keep them nicely organized for removal too. So
yeah, you don't have to look around. Like they're all in their little columns.
There it is, man.
Ice columns, basically. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Well, good stuff. Well, I tell you what, before we get into our stories, a little earlier than we usually do, but Brian, how about we go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, Truck and Tap?
That sounds like a great idea. So when it isn't randomly storming here in Atlanta, and it has been a lot where I'm at, it's been blazing hot, like Tim said. And that's got me in the mood for some good cold lagers fresh off the tap. And you know where you can find a bunch of good cold lagers on tap? Yeah, that's right, Truck and Tap. Each location has several to choose from, so you have options. But here are my Truck and Tap lager picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Mutation Brewing's 99 Experiment. It's a West Coast Pilsner, or what we used to call a IPL, India Pale Lager. And it's also a collaboration with the legendary local alternative rock station 99X. We listened to that a lot back in the day, and they were very influential. Yeah. But I'm a fan of the style of beer because it means I don't have to choose between the aggressive hopping of an IPA and the crispness of a lager. Both is always my favorite choice, and that's what this is. This is both. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Creature Comforts. That's a 10 on the side pull tap. It's both a Czech Pilsner and a collaboration beer with Halfway Crooks, and it is also on a side pull tap. So there's no way I'm going to miss this one if I see it. At the Truck and Tap Alpharetta location, my pick is Reformation's Clarity Lager. It's an easy drinking rice lager with lemon drop hops, and the proceeds go to benefit the charitable organization Shepherd's Men, which helps veterans in need and their families. Good beer for a good cause. I'm always in for that. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Bold Monk's Umibozu Premium Lager. This is another Japanese rice lager. This one featuring jasmine rice. We've been talking about brewing beer with rice a lot lately, and I am seeing it more often on tap lists, anecdotally anyway. A story from a few weeks ago talked about jasmine rice possibly giving buttery or vanilla flavors to a beer. So I'd be looking for this when I sip on this one. Am I getting a little butteriness to it? Probably not. Am I getting a little vanilla? Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to drink that one and find out for sure. And there you have my beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, just take a look at truckandtap.com. You're not limited to just lagers, like I've decided to limit myself this week. If you'd like to see what food trucks are serving and what events are happening, you can also find that at truckandtap.com. All the important answers are at truckandtap.com, so check it out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
We also want to send a happy anniversary, happy birthday to Truck and Tap. They are the Woodstock location opened coming up on 10 years now. So they're going to be having a 10-year anniversary party here pretty soon. And we just really appreciate the partnership that we've had with them. Again, us as well, going on 10 years that we've been doing this. So added a long time, but good people over there. They've always been a supporter of the show. So we're very happy to see their success and growth over the last decade. And happy 10th to Truck and Tap, specifically Truck and Tap Woodstock. So, and we appreciate you guys.
Such a fun place.
It is a fun place. It is a fun place. Well, Brian, if you are watching the news, or even if you're not, you probably just know it, even if you're trying to avoid it. But tourism to America is down. People don't want to come here anymore. People, I've seen a lot of things about people canceling Disney vacations. You know, it's like we go to Disney every year. We go to the Adirondacks every year. It's like we're going somewhere else this year. We've just really driven a lot of people away from coming to the U.S. And the Vermont Brewers Festival is no exception. You know, they normally see a lot of Canadians come over for the festival, and they are trying to do what they can to help out. And they took an interesting approach to wooing Canadians to come on over for the festival.
Yeah, it's a really interesting solution. So their festival, unlike most festivals, you don't think about international people attending, but their festival has seen a significant drop in Canadians buying tickets to the event. Typically, Canadians make up to about 10% of their up to 700 people that attend. So we're talking like 70 plus
70
people.
Canadians.
Yeah,
man.
you know, that's a significant amount. You know, again, 10%. So their solution is a little bit like the opposite of a tariff, an anti-tariff, if you will. They have started offering what they're calling at par pricing for Canadians. And what that means is instead of paying $60 for tickets, Canadians only have to pay 60 in Canadian dollars, which ends up being about $43. Before the change, the full price of a ticket actually came out to nearly 82 in Canadian dollars if they had to buy it. So they can buy it for 60 of their price. The Americans buy it 60 for their price. But like you said, it's not just the beer festivals that are seeing a drop. Overall, Canadian tourism, specifically to Vermont, has dropped by 23.3% so far this year. I think they said in May it was over 30% just alone. And I think this was calculated pre-May. And it's not expected, maybe June. I might be wrong on that. But anyway, it's not expected to improve anytime soon. So the reasons are what you think they are, tariffs and politics, basically. But
politics, yeah.
Just, hopefully this strategy works out well for them. I believe that by the time this airs, it probably will have happened. So hopefully it worked. And I was wondering, because I'm just a devious SOB. I was thinking, like, if I had a Canadian friend, I'm like, hey man, you coming down for this? He's like, no. It's like, I tell you what, a bunch of us are going to go. If you buy our tickets up in Canada, we'll pay for your ticket, so we get discounted tickets. So anyway, yeah.
A good way to do it. Brian wants to take advantage of those anti-tariffs.
That's right. So
absolutely.
Substitute. It's too late for anybody to do that. I'm pretty sure all the tickets have been sold. The event's already happened, so you can't do that. But that was the way my mind was working, because I'm a bad person.
If you're a non-American, we have a decent amount. I think like 12% of our listeners are not U.S. based, so fairly like you said, 10%. 12% is a decent number of folks, and it's unfortunate that the political climate and issues between our actual countries are keeping people out of the country. Because to be honest, people here are friendly. We got cool stuff to do, and even the people that are supporting the crap that you hate and that are frustrating you, if you were to go to a backyard cookout or a beer fest or something with them, they're going to be decent folks to hang out with. So it's really unfortunate, the climate out there right now. And I've got really good friends who support things that I strongly oppose. But if we're out having a beer together and hanging out, we're all good people if you leave the politics out of it. But I know it's getting hectic. I know our borders are unsure, a roll of the dice right now for some folks. So I guess that's
True.
that's more people trying to get into the country than
I wonder how much harder the story didn't specifically mention if there was a great deal more difficulty coming from Canada into the US. I haven't done that crossing in a long time.
I don't know.
I remember being not too bad, but I do remember getting frisked one time coming back into the US. I didn't have long hair at the time, so they probably thought I was carrying stuff that I wasn't carrying. But I remember them being a little bit more thorough and a little more uptight than going into Canada. So I don't know. That's been a lot of years though.
I down on the other end of things. I did a trip to San Diego. I believe I was going to say 2017, but I think it was like maybe 2007. So it may have even been longer ago than I thought. But at that time, when going into Mexico, you could just walk across. That was it. You just walk into Mexico. That's fine, no problem. And when I came back, I believe we had to line up and they checked IDs. And I think that was it. And I don't even think they grilled us too much about like what we were bringing back into the country from what I remember. I think it was just validating, just validating that you had the correct ID to walk across the border there, So with Mexico, they're like, yeah, it's cool. Come on across. We're fine. So
pretty much.
Yeah. Easy peasy stuff. So Brian, we hear news every week about how sales are doing. We hear little tidbits saying this is up for this week or this holiday or this and that, but just all around things are not great for beer and are kind of down. And if we look at the numbers halfway through 2025, alcohol sales are down, and this is across the board. It's just not beer getting hit, but it sounds like across each category, alcohol is having a tough year.
Yeah, it's what you've been hearing. People are moving away from alcohol for a variety of reasons, but Brewbound was reporting on the NIQ sales for the first half of the year. Not great for all alcohol, basically. And we don't report on this every week. I think Brewbound's always talking about the sales. That's too much. But halfway through the year, I think it's worth talking about. So off-premise alcohol sales are down 3% year to date as of July 5th, the latest figures, with total sales reaching over $53 billion. All measured channels saw declines, including convenience stores, liquor stores, grocery stores, basically every kind of store you can think of that sells any kind of alcohol. Here are some category stats for various alcohol categories here. Beer is down 3.1% in dollars and 4.7% in volume. Beer currently has a 42.7% market share. Spirits are down 2.8% and in dollars and 3% in volume. Wine is getting clobbered. It's down 5.9% in dollars and 6.7% in volume. They're down to 18.1% dollar share. I'm not sure exactly why people are just not loving wine right now, but they really aren't. Only ready to drink, aka RTD cocktails, showed any sales growth. They're up 1.7%, but they have a volume still down in volume 3.2%. So I think what's happening is the price on those is just going up. So that's what's making the dollar sales look bigger. Summer sales are falling short for beer. The period leading up to Labor Day is crucial for overall 2025 performance. So how it goes up to Labor Day is going to say a lot about this year. As for the second half of the year, beer, wine, and spirits are expected to struggle to achieve flat growth rates, while RTDs are expected to drive revenue but fall short in terms of volume. Again, it's just price increases, probably. There is some good news, though. There are pockets of growth in beer. Super premium beer, that segment showed growth in dollars 2.2% and volume 2%. And non-alcoholic beer, like we keep hearing, is experiencing significant growth in year to date in dollars. They're up 17.7% in dollars and 18.3% in volume, though their growth rates are starting to slow a little. Yeah, they're slowing down a little bit, but they're still killing it right now. So that's where a lot of these people are going to. They're getting into the non-alcoholic beer. So that's good. And that's something that people can pivot to that are brewing beer. Like we can continue to have breweries making the beer that we enjoy that has alcohol in it and service the people who have decided that, hey, alcohol is not part of my lifestyle anymore. So right. I think it's good we're keeping people in beer. I think we can't, a lot of people like to look at non-alcoholic beers like, that's not beer. It's like, no, it's beer. It helps us out. Like it's keeping people in beer. We want people to stay in beer. So yeah.
The interesting thing is, I think historically, during times of either economic strife or political strife, alcohol sales normally go up. When people are stressed out, they drink more. So, it definitely kind of contextual there. Something people aren't going out to restaurants and bars and much if the economy's not as good. But then you see increases at like liquor stores and convenience stores of buying alcohol to drink at home there. But so we have political strife and political economical turmoil and down alcohol sales. It's them damn Gen Xers. They're either not getting stressed enough or something. I don't know, but
Is it the
that's
Gen Xers or the Gen Z?
who are we blaming? No, not Xers. I'm
Z
sorry.
or
That's
A? Is it
Z,
Alpha? Are we blaming-
millennial alpha Zers. I think
Oh, those
you know what?
toddlers. Those toddlers
Everybody
aren't
that's
drinking
not
enough.
me, basically,
right.
is the problem.
I would say it's you too. I would say it's everybody that's not Brian who's drinking enough for
Brian's doing his part.
3
Yeah.
people on some
Yeah.
of these shows.
And that's Beer Brackets here on YouTube says that just means we all need to do our part and up our beer consumption.
Mhm.
So we want to encourage you all to drink more responsibly, of course. Of course, we
Not a
encourage you to
doctor. Drink more.
drink more responsibly as much as you can. So that's
Yeah.
that's all we can do here. Go
Yes.
out, support it. And then, I mean, we see a lot of breweries here. We did a series, or I say I just read it, but we had some people do a series on Reddit of brewery closures. And before that, we went through like a whole list of every brewery open. And the forum I'm in is specifically about Georgia beer. So we went through every brewery in Georgia, kind of did a little profile on them. And then when that was complete, we went through all the closures. And man, you just really don't realize how many have closed until you kind of sit down and look at a list of everybody there. But, I'm thinking of, a lot of the favorite places that we went to they're gone. They're just not there anymore.
Yeah.
So that's I'll get Facebook memories pop up. And of course, all my damn memories are drinking. It's either food or alcohol. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? I do remember those ribs and
I
beer.
do.
Yes,
They
I
were
sure
great.
do. I sure do. But it's like, oh man, that place is gone.
It's not
That's,
just breweries. In some cases, it's tap rooms. What was the place that we used to love over in Roswell? R.I.P.
I
them.
forget the name of it. Yeah, it had kind of
Yeah.
an unusual name, but that was such a great place. Nate, do you know? I know that you went there. Do you remember the name of the place?
There's one that's there now
It was
that's
like
good.
Sixth and Vine or something
Yes.
like that. Something
Yeah,
along
it's-
those lines.
Yeah, I'm
but-
sorry, I'm drawing a blank too.
Yeah, but it was a
Really
good
like that
place,
place.
nice people, good environment, and that's I talked to our old buddy Scott Hadeen a couple days ago, and Scott was the founder brewmaster of Burnt Hickory Brewery, and that was really one of our really go-to places there for
a long
many
time, yeah.
times. And we ended up brewing collaborations with them. We served beer at their anniversary parties, collaboration beers. We did cask ales with them. And we were reminiscing about the heyday of craft beer and going out there and enjoying it. And he said he got a lot of people who said it was just too crazy for them there. It was just too wild. And then Burnt Hickory did have some wild times, man. I mean, if you were there and a maniacal clown showed up in a pair of Speedos, that could happen. That could happen
Yes.
at Burnt Hickory. That's not to say that it wouldn't, but he had punk concerts there come through and did some really crazy beers. It was fun. It was kind of the time when everything was extreme. And let's put all the candy we can in the beer. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's get hops and let's do this and add all these adjuncts. And I think they were really one of the originators of doing the super wild, crazy beers like that, at least in Georgia.
Mhm.
Yeah, they did more off the wall stuff. I was just thinking about like they had hot pepper and
Yeah.
hot pepper Belgian beers, like was it the Border Monk or something like that? It was like a
Border Bishop, right?
Border Bishop, like it might have even been
Yeah.
like tequila barrel, but it had hot peppers in it too. Like, just off the wall stuff, like stuff that Dogfish Head was doing way back in the day too. Like this was our source for that, and we had more of it happening faster because it was local and we could get to it. And Dogfish Head had to put it in a bottle and get it shipped out. Like we just had to go to the brewery and whatever crazy demons had crawled into Scott Hadeen's head in the past couple of weeks, we got to taste it. So yeah.
Now Scott, good friend, love him to death. He went a little too far for me sometimes. Like, it would not be unheard of to go into the brewery and find him pouring like a gallon of stout into a blender and throwing Snickers bars in there. Like
Yes.
that would happen. So he did some wild stuff. And
Or
And
Stroop
you know
waffles.
what? There were people that didn't like him for it, that thought he wasn't serious about beer and brewing and all that because of some of the ridiculosity there. But it was a lot of fun. We had some good times there.
Well, in addition to the ridiculosity and the over the topness, he used to do bottle shares, and there used to be
He
like
did.
blown events, and a lot of people because wasn't his supporters group like
The Army, BHB
yeah.
Army. Yeah.
And so they would throw out some pretty big bottle shares, and you got to taste some really tasty stuff that you just couldn't get local.
Yep, we would get
A
together
lot of
there,
it, yeah.
especially I think he had a big Christmas party every year. And then he would have like you said, just random times for the BHP Army folks. And you just get together. And to be quite honest, there were times when we'd just be sitting around the brewery talking with some of our buddies there and mention, yeah, I've got this I've been wanting to open. And they're like, well, I've got that I've been wanting to open. And they're like, you wanna meet up here Sunday? Yeah, all right. Well, that's cool. Let's do that. So share them up, man. Crack them open. Well, guys, speaking of big stouts, I do like them. I cannot lie. There's something that is always interesting to hear every year, but Bourbon County Stout, Goose Island, has announced the 2025 lineup. Did we get any of the 2024 Bourbon County stuff?
We got a couple of them. What did we get?
It was
Like
just
the
the black
Bananas
label,
Foster?
right?
Or?
Oh, that's
I don't
right.
know,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
I don't even know if we
didn't
got the black label. I think
I
it was
don't know
still
if I
high
even
ABV.
tried any of them this year.
I think it was
or
the Bananas Foster
last year. Okay.
I think I might still have one of them around. They don't fly off the shelf anymore. You can find them. I've seen them. I've seen ones for the preceding years, which I mean, in one way is kind of sad, another way is nice, because if you do want them, if you did have a bottle share with stouts and you're looking for something to bring, like you could go into like Total Wines around here and find some. Yeah, you could. Yep.
But Brian, you did the homework for us to dig up the info on the 2025 releases. So what can we expect from Bourbon County Stout this year?
Yeah, we can expect 5 variants, and the 5 variants are Bourbon County brand Cherries Jubilee Stout, Chocolate Praline Stout, Proprietor Stout, which pretty much every year, Double Barrel Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond Stout, and Parker's Heritage Reserve Stout. In keeping with tradition, proprietors will only be available in the Chicago area. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody. The classic 2025 Bourbon County brand original stouts, the black label, will now be sold in new 10-ounce 4-packs. And this is something that was leaked and we discussed earlier in this year on the show. The recipe remains unchanged, so don't lose your mind about that. It's aged for an average of 12 months on a blend of freshly emptied barrels from Buffalo Trace, Heaven Hill, Four Roses, and Wild Turkey. And I like all those things, so that sounds great. As for the Cherries Jubilee Stout, that's going to be aged in bourbon barrels and finished in cognac barrels with, and I always get these cherries. I can't pronounce their name. Montmorency? You know what I'm talking?
I think it's Montmorency.
Montmorency cherries?
Yeah.
I never know how to say
know.
that. Citrus and something called panela. It's inspired by the flambe dessert Cherries Jubilee. And there's the Chocolate Praline Stout. It's aged in bourbon barrels and layered with cocoa nibs, hazelnuts, almonds, cashews, and dates. It's nuts, basically. Drawing inspiration from the chocolate, caramel, and roasted nut flavors found in the original stout. So they're doubling down on that. The Proprietor's Blend or Proprietor Stout this year will be aged in bourbon barrels, obviously. That almost goes without saying. Finished with walnuts, pistachios, cassia bark, honey, and inspired by baklava. The Double Barrel Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond Stout, which is such a mouthful. It double barrel aged in 2 sets of freshly emptied Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond bourbon barrels with tasting notes of toasted marshmallow, warm vanilla, and a pronounced oak finish. That one sounds great. I historically have always enjoyed a beer that has been aged in Heaven Hill bourbon barrels. Always, just without fail. I don't think I've ever had one that I disliked. And finally, the Parker's Heritage Reserve Stout is aged for a full 2 years in Parker's Heritage Collection 10-year 17th edition rye whiskey barrels, resulting in concentrated layers of dried fruit, marzipan, and nuanced rye spice. And I've really, really, really enjoyed Parker's Heritage whiskeys. They're very expensive, very hard for me to buy these days, but I'll bet this is fantastic. I hope this can make it down here. It's not too boozy, but yeah. Anyway, in keeping with tradition, nothing is changing. 2025 Bourbon County beers will go on sale on Black Friday, which is November 28th this year. So keep an eye out for them. We'll see what we get here. We got that stupid 14% cap. So
we should give the Nates gas money to do a Chicago run. Go up there and come back with
I'm
stuff.
great with that.
So I have to say this, man. A lot of times I think there's some that sound good. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind trying that. There's a few of these that like I'd really like to try this year. I think the one that jumps out to me the most is that Cherry's Jubilee. That sounds
Yeah.
like that would be really good. Cherries in a stout. And Brian, that Panella is like an unrefined cane sugar, like a kind of like a brown sugar there.
Okay.
So, but that sounds good to me. The praline stout sounds like it could be good. Proprietors of baklava, that sounds crazy, but done. There's a lot of things that I hear that are just absolutely insane, but it kind of depends on who's doing them. And I'll be honest, I haven't had Bourbon County as much in recent years to say, but it used to be that if Goose Island was doing it as a Bourbon County, I trusted that it would be done well. And that's kind of like Monday Night Brewing here. They did 7 Deadly Stouts, which was 7 barrels, seven adjuncts and that. And I'm like, this could be a total train wreck, but because of who it's coming from, I feel it will be done well. And it was stellar in my opinion. So yeah, all of those, I'd try any of them, but especially the Cherry's Jubilee. That would be my number one if I had to pick one. But again, the Proprietors and the Praline both sound good. And I mean, you can never argue with a good bourbon barrel aged stout.
True. And my love of Parker's Heritage, and those are phenomenal. I want to try that just because how much I enjoy their whiskeys. Yeah, like I said, like they've gone up in the $300 and $400 range for the bottles when they get released, and they're kind of highly allocated, very limited, that sort of thing. So they're a little bit out of my budget. But when I used to be able to afford them and find them, man, I got everyone that dropped, and I really enjoyed it. Starting with the I think the very first one went to like cognac barrels, and it got some little blurb in Cigar Aficionado. That's how I first heard of them, and I was buying them ever since until I lost the ability to do so, either by way of access or by way of price. So
the bourbon market's crazy, man. It's just it's insane what the bourbon collectors are doing, and I'll have no part of it, Brian. I'm not paying aftermarket prices for something.
I hear it's better. I hear it's
okay,
good. Because alcohol sales are down across the board, and I think some of the craziness is finally leaving that industry. I think I heard that they were doing a new higher proof Sazerac rye, and I'm like, well, this is probably an indication of now we have extra stock, and now we can
do this. Now we can do this.
So, I've been kind of eyeballing it, and I'm like, oh, Sanity might be returning to it, so maybe Brian gets back into bourbon a little bit, maybe. But
good luck, Brian.
Cautious optimism there. Cautious.
Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Well, Brian, some hop news this week, and there are a lot of beers. I'm sure that most people have had some beers that had some New Zealand hops in them. Definitely a popular location for hop growing, but some bad news out of New Zealand. Apparently, there was some bad flooding over there that has hit some of the hop farms.
Yeah, Stan Hieronymus was talking about this on his website. Extreme weather event hit the Tasman region of New Zealand, and the area has experienced severe flooding. Not once, but twice. First at the end of June, and then again in early July. They're saying the rainfall has exceeded the once in 100-year flood level. So we're talking like not just a little bit of flooding, like this is insane, crazy, wackadoodle level of flooding. I bring this up because it's had a devastating impact on hop farms in the area, including the 2 farms that I don't know the farms that well, but Mac Hops and New Hoplands. So if you're buying hops, you'll probably be familiar with them. Both have suffered extensive damage, with fields submerged, fences destroyed, facilities filled with mud and gravel and sand. Down trees have been swept by floodwaters and have taken down hop lines and poles and things like that. On top of that, there was even a fatality related to this. Hop farmer Peter Lyons died after being hit by a tree while clearing flood damage on his property. I don't know if it fell on him or I don't know. I don't know what the story is there, but that's tragic. Farmers anticipate months and months of work to restore the damaged infrastructure. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of money. The silver lining here is that hops are resilient. The farmers are hopeful that the hop plants themselves will survive, mostly because they are currently dormant. In case you didn't know, it is winter in New Zealand at this point in time, so they are sleeping. So hopefully they slept right through this. They also don't expect the flooding to have an impact on the 2026 hop production, because we got a ways to go, and hopefully they can get everything ready, have the hops ready to go before that's going to be an impact. So yeah, it's a wreck over there, and hopefully hopefully everything is cool from here on out for them. Yeah, it's really
Good luck.
tragic.
We
Yeah.
need those hops. We need those hops. Absolutely. Well, Brian, some news. We followed this long time now, Anchor Brewing. So
Yes.
there's always some ups, some downs, and all of that. Some new news, Brian, and it's not great. So what is the latest on Anchor Brewing?
Yeah. So we may have an answer as to why the new owner of Anchor Brewing has been so quiet for so long. According to TheStreet.com, Hamdi Ulukaya and his team do not intend to reopen the original Anchor Brewery or any other physical location in San Francisco, at least not in the foreseeable future. Instead, the beer will now be brewed by a contract partner outside the city. So the brand may live on, but its connection to San Francisco seems to be severed for the present time. The speculation is that the dormant facility will take a lot of time to be operational again, if that ever even happens, presumably because they wouldn't just be turning the lights back on and turning the water back on and resuming the same operations. There will probably be repairs and upgrades that would need to be done before they even try to reopen. And I think that Sapporo saw that as well, and that's part of the reason they got out from under it. It needs a lot of work. It's a very old facility. Anyway, the new owner says he still intends to honor the brand's legacy, and an eventual reopening has not been entirely ruled out. It was not stated, but there was no promise or no actual commentary that saying that it would be. So what I'm wondering is who's going to be contract brewing Anchor, and how do they plan to recreate Steam? Because Steam was very much a product of that facility. There's probably places that could pull it off. I'm not sure if anybody can, but and I think the article referenced hundreds of miles away, so I don't know exactly what area they're talking about. Maybe some people know, they know the reference, but I don't know the geography and the location of the breweries well enough to even take a guess at it. So
I don't think it would be the same. You know,
I don't think so either.
I mean, I don't think people would have the same passion for it. Sure, you know, some people would be like, hey, all right, I love Anchor Steam. If it's done well, if it's done right, I'm still going to drink it. But, you know, the attachment that, especially the locals, you know, locals aren't going to care about an Anchor Steam beer brewed in Minneapolis, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just not going to care at all. So kind of unfortunate, man. That's sad, you know, watching this and seeing how, and I think, you know what? I didn't see enough of the news, Brian, to make a call, but it really sounded like when it was purchased, it was Chobani dude, right?
Yeah, the Chobani guy. Yeah.
That there was some pretty good talk that it was going to happen. So, you know, I don't know if they're like, well, yeah, let's hype it up now, and then, you know, over time it'll die down, or perhaps they got in there and, you know, evaluated the situation a little more and decided it was tougher to do than they thought. But you think that was something you would do before you purchased it. Who knows, Brian? I don't have the kind of money to be buying massive breweries that go bankrupt, or maybe I do these days. I don't know what they're going for. $30-$40. I'm not really sure.
Maybe, as long as you don't have to take on their all their debts.
Right. Yeah.
Because those debts are in the millions. There. But yeah, I wonder with that. I'll bet that if you a new owner taking over and trying to start it up and changing all the the licensing over and all that, I imagine you go through a whole another new round of inspection. And I know that California is fairly strict, and an old facility like this may need a lot of like crazy amounts of retrofitting, may have some structural problems, heck, may have some like environmental issues that they have to. This might be a lot. Like this, I don't know what the legalities are. It's probably, I'm guessing it would have exceeded anybody's expectations going into it, even had they done a little research on it. Maybe not. I don't know.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Well, Brian, recently the winners were announced for the 2025 U.S. Open Beer Championship. And this is a competition, one of the big ones there. We have Great American Beer Fest, there's the World Beer Cup, and there is the U.S. Open Beer Championship. And just got here a few stats, a few highlights, we'll say, from the competition there. But the brewery of the year, the Grand National Champion, we'll say, was Bull and Bush Brewery out of Denver, Colorado. They had 3 golds and 2 bronzes that they won in the competition. Are either of you familiar with that brewery?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, that's one I hadn't heard of. Now, the second place overall, which is one I have heard of, was Sun King Brewery out of Indianapolis. I think Sun King typically does pretty well in
Yeah.
beer competitions. You'll see their name, but they took 2 golds, 3 silvers, and a bronze. And in third place overall, with 3 golds and a bronze, was Wild Barley Kitchen and Brewery out of San Antonio. And that is another one that I am not familiar with. So I always enjoyed, that's one thing I always enjoyed with these competitions, was seeing breweries come up that like putting breweries on my radar that I had never heard of. It's like, hey, they did this beer that kicks. I wonder what else they're doing out there. Let's go and see. But Brian, real quickly, the breweries of the year by production size from 0 to 250 barrels was Bierkraft, Bierkraft out of Oklahoma. 251 to 500 barrels, that was the Wild Barley Kitchen and Brewery out of Texas. 501 to 1,000 barrels was Hop Dogma Brewing Company in California. The 1,001 to 2,000, that was Bull and Bush Brewery, who was the number 1 overall. 2001 to 5,000 was Third Eye Brewing Company out of Ohio. 5,001 to 15,000 was Confluence Brewing Company out of Iowa. And the big boy, 15,001 plus, that was Sun King Brewery there out of Indiana. They took it for that category. And Brian, some category highlights for the different categories for the beer here. In the English Pale Ale, Brian, one of your favorites that you talk about a lot, Mirror Pond took that one, and that's from Deschutes. And so they won the English Pale Ale category, took gold there. In Imperial IPA, 25th anniversary XX IPA from Half Moon Bay, on the triple IPA category. And Brian, we're seeing triple and quad IPAs now. It's crazy.
Yes.
All the IPA and that's being done out there. But that went to Dr. Lupulin from Revision Brewing. The Hazy Juicy Pale Ale category, that was Deep Pale Haze from Knee Deep Brewing. Hazy Juicy Strong Pale Ale was Antimatter from Brothership. And that was the English Mild Ale, Brian, Sticky Wicket. That was from Site 1 Brewing. So I've heard the term Sticky Wicket before. I know it's a cricket term, but I don't know exactly what it means there. But that was it, Brian. There was also a category, the Pink Boots Blend category, and that Pink Boots Society is for female brewers. And that was included this year. And Stone Brewing, She's the Brewer IPA won gold there. Some new styles in the competition. There was a coffee beer, both light and dark categories, which was launched in 2025. And something we've been chatting about a lot in the Patreon lately is rice lagers. So they've been around for a while, but they're growing. We're seeing more of them. There's more popularity there. So that is definitely something, and it's got its own category, which was introduced for 2026 competition. Rice lagers.
Sounds great. I think we're going to continue to see more and more rice lagers.
More.
There's a lot of articles. There's a lot of push behind them. I'm seeing them on tap lists. I'm like, it's not going away. So it's time to get your. It's time to start evaluating these rice lagers and decide what you like in them. Yeah,
light and refreshing.
Nothing wrong.
Can't argue with that. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for our show this week. Again, we always appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us here. If you enjoy what we're doing, tell a friend about us. Tell them to tune in. Check us out. If you really dig us, please support us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. We will get you some cool swag, and we'll get you in the Patreon, the Discord chat. We'll also invite you to the after parties each week. With all that said, we hope that you have a really, really good week. And don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Good stuff. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Always good to see you. Good chat this week. Had a lot going on in chat, so that's always fun. Thank you all for that. But we are about to get kicked off of Instagram, so before we get the boot, we're going to wrap it up, and we'll see y'all next week.